Hi, my name is Kevin Starr, and I work with the ABB Oil, Gas, and Chemical Business Unit, and we're here to share with you a new and exciting service solution that we call OGC Care. In our work with clients around the globe, we have found that you have asked a couple different things. Three in particular is, you're too hard to work with, ABB. Your costs are all over the place. We can't get consistent pricing, and you're not really helping us maximize our needs. And boy, we've heard you. And we have taken those inputs and we've realized that we can help you align to your needs and your desires for improving production, quality, or reducing the cost to produce. We can provide a service solution that helps you reach your goals. It's not just a service agreement or a contract. Those kind of have a bad connotation. We see it as a service relationship, that we've got a dog in the fight. We can help you achieve your targets. So by focusing on your inputs and putting together, so how do we make sure we get you the right person at the right time with the right service so that you can achieve your value, we realize that we have to be able to align ABB services to your needs, not our needs. What do you need? And we can make sure you get it. We need to provide consistent service delivery, and we do that with training and skill certification. But when we know what your needs are, we can make sure that you just don't get the next guy on the bench. We get the guy that is tied to your needs. And not only that, the digital world is opening up the connectivity, and we call that collaborative operations or the collaborative support network. So with the touch of a button, you can get access to the brightest minds that ABB has instantly, solving your problems. And we can be much easier to interact with. By having this service solution, we have a relationship. We know your site, we know your install base, we know your needs, and we can consistently make sure that you have the contracts and the service solutions that help you achieve those goals. Besides, if you don't make money, we don't make money. This slide really starts to illustrate the complexity of the problem that we're trying to solve. These are asset classes. It's, control systems, drives, electrical, power products. You can read them. These are just 9. We have dozens of product groupings spread around the world. So yes, if you call and say, hey, I've got a problem with power products, you may have called somebody in instrumentation. That can happen without a service solution. With a care agreement, we can align your needs and your personnel to the appropriate install base with the right actions. So we don't have to go through all this. Let's try to figure out who likes being passed from phone to phone to phone until you find somebody. And we can help navigate that so that you're talking to us just like a friend would talk. Here's an example of how we started figuring this out. With the research that we've done, we found that depending upon, for us to better understand what it is you want, we have basically a process or a questionnaire. Like here is like, if you need, and just to help with this, I'll pinpoint a couple. For example, maybe you need timely and local remote support. We're getting that a lot now with unmanned and reduced manned service. It's safety issues. It's concerning to put people out in these harsh environments. How can you help with that, ABB? Well, we can help with our rapid response support model, and then we can provide you with that insight. Or maybe you're saying, I need longer asset life. Maybe last year wasn't so good. The oil prices went down, so I really need to extend this asset. I got to learn how to maintain it. I've got to keep it up and running. How do I get more life out of this? You came to the right person, but we can align you with our product and system lifecycle support. So by having structured questions that you will collaborate together. We don't want to come in and tell you you need this. You tell us your needs. We have a whole series. This is just a matrix to show kind of how it works. If you need this, here's our solution. And then we can put those together. To further help with that, we have found that we can provide a segmented service solution based upon this questionnaire, where we can maybe rapid response. Maybe you need parts, maybe you need training, maybe you need someone to call and respond within a couple hours. We call that a rapid response contract. Maybe you're interested in life cycle management. Maybe you're tired of trying to keep your staff up to speed to do maintenance and do rounds. We have the skills and we can help you with that. Or we can work together to make sure you have the properly balanced life cycle management program. Performance improvement. This is becoming a huge issue, is how do our install base is growing faster than our people at site. So how do we cast a net to reduce the problem space? so that the problems come to the surface instead of you having to go look for them? How can we remove bottlenecks? How can we get you a little bit of extra production or a little bit of extra life out of that asset? Process performance improvement. And then operational excellence. This is what is our consulting. We have solved problems. We have solved thousands of problems, and we like to do that. ABB is really good at that. One of the things, I still wear the ABB logo after nearly 30 years, well, over 30 years, is if you call us with a problem, we're going to fix it. That's that keeps me going. And so we have different tiers. We can have rapid response, we can have life cycle management, we can have performance improvement, and we can have operational excellence. And they're different levels of service. They're based upon our questionnaire and your needs. This slide shows it a little bit more detail. As you can see, the rapid response, these are basically some of the scope of technical support, remote troubleshooting. You can read parts training, contract management, service desk. When you call us, who's our number, who's your support, rapid response. If you need 2-hour response or 5-hour response, it's different depending on where you're located and what your product needs are. We can adjust and match you where your needs are. Lifecycle management, as I mentioned, those are different skills necessary to do the preventive maintenance. Maybe think of rapid response as corrective maintenance. You're down, you need fixed. Okay, the clock's ticking. Let's make you happy, but how long does it take? Preventive maintenance is let's try to reduce the need for corrective maintenance. And then performance improvement is the one that is really taking the world by storm with big data, industrial, Internet of Things, the Industrial Revolution, is our assets have a digital signature now. And we can look at that signature, we made it. We know what good looks like, so we can assess your process and your assets, and we can say, hey, these are wounded, these need fixed, and we can help you with predictive maintenance so you never have the failure. Wouldn't that be nice to come in and know that you're covered? We can do that with these different layers. And then if you really aren't sure where to go, or you have a process you need to rebuild, or you have an issue with a pipe or a right-sized motor or whatever, we can help you with our consultant level services or operational excellence. So these just show those different categories and different segments. And then there's different agreements that we have with customers in terms of demand service is where you call us and we supply. The total cost of ownership, we're now having customers say, we want to manage we want to extend the life of our system at the best possible price, total cost of ownership. We can help you with that. And then there's an asset maintenance partnership where we can have a cost or a profit sharing kind of agreement where we have agreed upon KPIs and performance indices. These are all different levels of service agreements. We have different service categories, but in short, if it breaks, we're there to fix it. We can provide preventive maintenance so that it doesn't break, so we catch it, and we have predictive maintenance so that we can balance it. So these are coming to light when we ask those questions. This chart here is a little overwhelming when you first look at it, but this is the flow chart. This is the diagram that our guys use to make sure that we properly align your needs with our portfolio. We have the answer to your problem, but it's just not like old guess. This idea of shotgun blasting, that doesn't work. So we can ask you the questions, and we found that if you have parts issues, and we find that a lot, especially in today's world where your sites are shutting down and they take all the parts from one site and stick it someplace else. Do you realize there's rev control, there's environmental issues? We've run into cases where parts were in a highly caustic environment and they got sold on the market and they started failing. We can help with that. Matter of fact, we can come in and look at your parts and say, hey, these parts don't even go with this system. Or this system has these critical components and you're not staffed. You don't have the appropriate alignment of parts in your storehouse. So you may have a failure. You may call us. We go to get your part and it's the wrong part. That's no fun. So we can actually go in, and this is becoming a popular service for us, is to help align your parts and your parts management with your system for extended life and reduced downtime. Maintenance, a lot of our stuff, most all of our stuff has moving parts. Moving parts are going to maintain. We have spent fortunes in investing ways to extend the life, but for example, if you don't clean a fan, or if you don't fix a control loop, or you don't do maintenance on a valve, it's going to wear out. Well, we can look at that, and we can give you recommended life cycle maintenance programs for your different assets. We can help you align based upon the environment that you're in. If you're in a very harsh environment, you need to increase your cycle time of preventive maintenance, if you're doing the wrong preventive maintenance on the wrong asset. These are all things that we're getting asked to do. And we can, when you have a service agreement, we can look at your failure modes, we can look at your preventive maintenance, we can look at your predictive maintenance and make sure it's all balanced so that you have the optimum uptime, limited downtime, and the maximum level of safety that you can have for yourself, your employees, and your production. So these are the different things that we have: parts, maintenance, diagnostics, and then we can walk through. You can see rapid response, life cycle, performance, then the operational excellence. But the key is we're not just going to walk away. These service agreements, they come with contract management. We make sure that you have a touch point. We make sure that you have regular cadence calls. We make sure that you're just not spending money and not getting anything. That's the last thing we want. So contract management, so that you get the reports, you get the history, you get the persistence, you know that you're covered when you work with ABB. Now we're going to transition from an overview of the process of developing a service care agreement to actual customers that have benefited from this mechanism of asking you questions, figuring out what your needs are, and then aligning to those segments in a standardized method. So here's one in Brazil. It was an offshore producer. They needed guaranteed response time for corrective maintenance, recommended spares, and control system synchronization. And then based on those answers, we were able to align the best service segment of our care family was the rapid response, which guarantees fast and flexible service response to maximize equipment availability. So we were able to take that category, match it to our customer, and then the benefits were corrective maintenance planning, recommended spares because they didn't have the spares that they needed, and engineering services when they were getting ready to do an upgrade or an evolution or change. They needed access to our experts. So this allowed us to make sure that we had a relationship with our customer that ensured that we satisfied the needs of the rapid response. Another one of our customers in Asia, an offshore oil producer, came when we asked the questions. This is what was highlighted: was a need for resident expertise, preventive maintenance programs, and a better trained personnel. This isn't an uncommon thing that's coming from our questionnaire. Is as the older generation is retiring and moving on, we're having the millennials come in, and our clients are saying, how do we transfer knowledge? How do we take this tribal knowledge that we've learned over years and apply it so that the new person can hit the ground running? That's a common question that comes. ABB has the answer, and it's called lifecycle management. And we find that's what we like about this OGC Care. We can ask questions. Your questions align with categories that we can align to make sure we match your needs. So the lifecycle management section of OGC Care provides powerful tools, and we've been investing for years in software to improve the efficiency of service delivery. And our knowledge base is grown, we make the stuff, so we know how long it takes to fix. We know what breaks. We know what you should fix. We know what parts you should have in stock. We know what preventive maintenance cycles you should be doing. So we can sit down and say, are you doing those? If you're not, you're going to have this many calls and this many breaks, and then this could be a critical asset, which could lead to downtimes. We can actually help you by providing a lifecycle management program to optimize and extend equipment life. This particular customer, once we worked through the agreement and got this staffing appropriate, we were able to include a resident service engineer, preventive maintenance, and training. And we have a whole training university where we have classes that can be offered in a digital form through YouTube. We have videos, we have virtual training, we have there's a whole series of courses that you can get access to that are aligned with your needs and your asset classes. So those are just two examples. The next, there's two more, one in UK and one in Norway, both offshore producers. As the UK customer, they needed a continuous system and process optimization plan. In other words, they ran a particular production rate. They didn't change rates or cook cycles. They needed to run a production process, and they needed to optimize that. And they needed to cost-effective do parts management, and they requested an access to an AV expert. When we went through their questionnaire, and these kind of were the high points, we found that our performance improvement segment of our OGC Care contract matched perfectly with the needs of our client. This particular segment increases productivity through usability and efficiency of optimization equipment and processes. So we've developed a whole series of tools and techniques and processes to extend the life of our assets, to remove bottlenecks, and to be able to assist in performance indexes and performance vectors so that we can better handle when a problem is going to break. So this is moving into predictive service. So the first one was corrective, then preventive, and this is more of a predictive service. So products like ABB Ability and the platform for data diagnostics and big data, this is where this is plugging in to help our clients, especially local and fleet solutions. When this was put in place, the customer benefited through equipment and process optimization, parts management, and resident service agreement. Parts management is a big deal. You may get a part that doesn't even go with your system. So we can help you do a gap analysis of your parts. We can make sure your parts are aligned with your system and what you have through this performance improvement. And then finally, our offshore client in Norway, they needed to improve asset optimization, reduce operating costs, increase production efficiency to raise its recovery factor. In other words, if they had a trip, how they come back, how they fix this process. This is a higher level problem, and they came to ABB and said, these are what we need. We got the other bases covered. We're like, well, you need operational excellence. So we were able to align our expertise with our clients and get down on the same table and scratch out, is it the right production? Is it the right process? What do we need to debottleneck? And so with this operational excellence class, we can promote operational excellence through reliability, safety, cost improvement, and energy efficiency. Power management systems, making sure that you have the proper power usage and utilization, control of your control loops, your asset class, do you have the right vintage of software, all that stuff we can plug into here and help you with your process. And there's different processes from offshore to onshore to upstream to downstream to chemical to refiner. We have experts that we can align with your experts to make sure that your asset classes are working in tip-top shape. That customer was able to benefit from 24-hour, 7 days a week support, system modification solutions. In other words, they didn't want to have us come to site because it was a dangerous location. It was hard to get to. And so we actually hooked up what's called an armor room, a digital secure room, so that we could actually work through their standard operating procedures in a safe remote environment. Again, following all the legal and legislation agreements for safety with that client. And then we were able to do remote condition monitoring so that we could say, hey, you're not in a problem now, but you're going to have a problem, and we can help you fix that and make sure you're aligned for that. With that, that's our OGC Care Service Agreement Solutions. We're here to be your partner. We want this relationship, and we can align with your needs so that you can increase your production or your quality and reduce your cost to produce. We can make sure that when you call, you get the right person and the right time with the right solution, and we can ensure the right value.